Okay, so let's get right into user experience. Um, so, a lot of you are probably wondering, what is UX design? So user experience is often abbreviated to UX. Just so you know, that's I'm going to be using them kind of interchangeably throughout the course of the video. Um, but it basically means advocating for players. So being a UX designer is all about being an advocate for the player to help them have the best experience. It might sound a little bit like game design. Um, so this primarily involves empathy as a skill or putting yourself in another person's position. So there are like lots of questions that a UX designer might ask when they're deciding how the game is actually going to be, like how the rules are going to be communicated to the player. So they might be asking, for example, is the player new to games? If your player's from a demographic that hasn't played a lot of video games, such as like children or elderly folks, then they might not know the conventions that you take for granted, such as what an HP bar is or how to use a controller, right? So you might need to include an option for more explanation of those elements. If they're new to the genre, they might have played video games before, but maybe this player hasn't played this kind of video game before, right? So they're going to be lacking knowledge of genre conventions. And that could be placement of UI elements like common button mappings on the controller, terminology for that genre, right? And again, you might want to consider adding options to view more explanation of these elements. So if you're expecting kind of a mixture of players, some of whom would be put off by over explaining or like sort of over tutorialization, then you could make the explanation skippable. These are the kinds of things the UX designer might be interested in. Do they have accessibility needs? So about 20% of people identify themselves as having a disability, and many more are temporarily affected by sort of environmental disturbances, like needing to play the game muted, for example, or having a temporary injury that restricts mobility. So the more options that you include to help those players enjoy your game without becoming frustrated, the bigger your potential audience will be. Some common high value options to include would be button remapping, like key remapping is very common, and subtitles for spoken text and other audio cues. Do they desire appropriate challenges? So if your audience is expecting a challenge, by all means give them one, right? But make sure that the challenge is in sort of learning and applying your mechanics, not in understanding the interface or using the controls. We don't want people to get frustrated, getting mired in trying to figure out where the controls are or what they are. So it's nice to respect a player's desire for a challenge level that kind of matches their own expectation for the game, which means providing difficulty options is a really good idea when you can. And you want to be able to respect the player's time in general by not making things frustrating to navigate. So again, make the process of getting between screens, managing their cognitive load for non-gameplay elements like UI or menus, as easy as possible for people so they can get to the fun stuff. So that should give you an overview of some of the things that a UX designer might be thinking about when they're going about actually like designing the rules for a game. So what does a UX designer do? It's kind of an ongoing cycle of research, ideation, experimentation, and implementation planning. So depending on the size of the team, the UX designer would sort of like pass off a plan to a UI artist or another team for final asset creation and implementations, like actually creating the art. But in many cases, UX design and UI implementation can be performed by the same person. So you'll often see UX and UI listed as a single role. But ideally, that person is still doing quite a lot of research and planning before creating the actual assets. So there's a lot of crossover between UX and game design, as you have probably noticed, right? Like game design is also about empathizing with the player. So they're both design roles that sort of make sense. The difference is that game design is primarily about coming up with the rules or the mechanics of the game, and UX design is about how to best communicate those rules to the player. So the roles often work very closely together and are sometimes performed by the same person, depending on the size of the team. So getting into the UX research side of things, and sometimes this itself is its own separate role, but I'm going to consider it as part of the UX designer's role. It depends again on the size of the team and the needs of the game. So user research is kind of one of the questions that are one of the like areas of research that a UX designer might do. They might be asking questions like, who is the player? So UX designers, sometimes in collaboration with like the marketing team, could come up with user personas. So generally speaking, like marketing side of things is going to come up, or the business side, biz dev we call it, is going to come up with the demographic for the game. so what the target audience is. And that's something that we'll talk about a little more next week. But given that you might have a target audience for your game, it is then the UX designer's job to come up with kind of a more detailed profile of who that person might be. So one of the tools that they use are called user personas. So these are basically detailed overviews of specific personas meant to represent real players. They like create fake people with names and jobs and lives that they like kind of try to role play a little bit. And these people become the basis for like advocacy later on when they're trying to communicate concepts. So we might say like, you know, we have a player who is a 10-year-old boy and his name's Timothy and he plays on a mobile device. And okay, so like these are Timothy's like needs and desires when it comes to this game. That's like the idea of doing a user persona. So they do like kind of empathy exercises, trying to imagine what the players might need to be communicated to them. We might do research, like another area of user research might be in figuring out what else they play. So researching what players of the genre also play will help with coming up with their frame of reference when deciding what UI conventions to use in the game. So for example, if your players mostly play other 16-bit RPGs, you might decide that they're used to certain conventions about where HP and mana go on the screen. Maybe it's in the lower right corner in the battle screen because that's where they're used to looking for that. You can also look at where they play. So if you find out that players of these like mobile games that are similar to the one that you're making are most likely to play while they're commuting on the bus, then maybe you decide to limit the game cues that come from audio only since they're likely to have their volume muted, right? Once you have the research about the people, you can more easily make decisions about how to actually design game elements around that. A second kind of research they do is competitor research. So how games in your genre represent similar information, for example. So UX designers will play a lot of similar games to identify conventions and communication elements that might work well for the current project. Might take a lot of screenshots of games with annotations as they gather data. That's like something that you could do anytime. Wouldn't take very long and it would be a real UX task. And the third thing is playtesting. So once they've sort of gone through the ideation process and they have an idea for a feature, or like a way to design an interface element or something like that. Then doing playtests and experiments, like an A/B test, for example, with real players will determine if they're on the right track. So ideally, UX designers strive to be data-oriented, so they test hypotheses, iterate on a design until most players seem to be grasping it intuitively, right? The final communication plan that's handed off to the UI artist or the UI, technical person, is then going to be based on an informed conclusion about how to move forward. It's going to be based on data, not based on like guessing. So for this course, we're skipping the UX process for the most part. You've gone through some iteration with your game design. You will go through another phase of iteration before you submit your final GDD, but we're not really doing any of the research side of this. So it's okay that you're just making a guess at what UI might work for your game. You're going to have to implement something in terms of a prototype. So just try to imagine that you're playing your game for the first time. Take the best elements from other games that are similar to yours and kind of see where that gets you. It's not going to get you all the way. Nothing that you make is going to be final. You're going to need to refine or redo probably all of it in the future, and that's okay. But when it comes to like real world projects, it is a kind of a mandatory process. So otherwise you're just making guesses about what players are going to understand or not understand about your game, and that can result in redoing a lot of work close to the end of the project, which is very expensive and not what you want, or bad reviews if you release a game that is really hard to understand or really frustrating, and that's not great for your studio's reputation. So that is the reason that we have UX design.